So, welcome to Get to Know the Speakers of Digital Confex. Today, we have with us Dr. Ranjan Pal, research scientist at MIT USA. So, he will be joining as a distinguished speaker on the topic cybersecurity, offensive and defensive deep dive. How hackers think and how to stop them during 4th IT Confex happening in Crown Plaza, New Delhi on 22nd August. So, hi, Dr. Ranjan. Welcome to the chat show.
Hi Ayush, very happy to be there and chatting with you, and I hope to be chatting with more people during the conference. So I believe this is just the start. So yeah, I mean, very delighted to be here.
Yeah, it's great having you in our conference, Ranjan. So, can you give us a brief introduction of yourself and your field of expertise for our audience?
Hi, yeah. So Ayush, I'm a research scientist and a faculty member at MIT, and I represent the Sloan School of Management. Now, however, I have a very strong technical background because all my degrees are, including my PhD, is in computer science. And then what I did was I married computer science with business and economics, taking cybersecurity as the topic of interest. And I solve problems primarily from the business side of things, but cybersecurity, you cannot take out computer science from cybersecurity. So we use our base knowledge, which is computer science, and try to integrate that with cyber. And this is what I have been doing for the last 10 years, like solving multiple problems in the space of cybersecurity and business. And I lead a group of, extremely talented undergraduate and graduate students at MIT. And we solve, and we are part of the cybersecurity at MIT Sloan, which is a center within Sloan, which is interdisciplinary. It solves we have people from multiple centers at MIT, from the business school, from the engineering school, from other schools, and we solve state of the art problems. And I'm actually running one of the subgroups inside camps with my students, and we solve primarily topics which intersect cyber risk management, cyber resilience, and we are actually targeting emerging technologies like AI and quantum, which is one of the focus areas of the IT conference. So that would be my, current, what I have been doing at MIT for the last 4 years. And in the past, I was a faculty member at the University of Michigan Ann Arbor. I was a postdoc at Cambridge, and as I said, I did my PhD in computer science, in the field of cybersecurity, and I've actually kickstarted the field of mathematical models of cyber insurance. I mean, just to manage risk in this so-called ever emerging technology world. So that was something about me, and I think that's enough at this point of time. So we can go ahead with more technical questions and
Yeah, I
questions you have.
think I think it's great knowing you and your past decade journey. So it was great knowing all the things. So I also prepared some brief questions for you today. My first question is, what are one of the new ways in which hackers are thinking of getting access to a computer system in the AI era?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ayush, because you see, there is always this debate in the cyber world. I mean, which is, are hackers ahead or are defenders ahead? And our research over the last, probably decade, and I mean, there are many other people who have worked on this problem. It has shown that the hackers are always ahead of the defenders. It is simply because they have more thinking power, they have more focus power, and they don't have to follow laws. You see, unlike the defenders, we need to follow some laws and regulations which constrain ourselves. So, having said that, I believe that if there is something which is very new, the way in which attackers or hackers, let's synonymously use the term hackers, what they do these days is they're trying to like not focus much on the strength of the malware or some spyware, etc., etc., which is definitely a focus. I'm not saying it's not there, but it's more about tackling humans who use the computer. Okay, so the fact is, if we can get in the mind of humans, well, that was probably 5 years ago. And so when you ask me the question that how do hackers think, well, modern hackers think with respect to hacking humans, because humans are the people who use the computer. So I am using a computer, you're using a computer, we are clicking like like tons of documents a day, or we are opening a ton of emails a day. So it's more about hacking the human mind so that we can enter their mind, and then we can get inside the system. Now, in the ultra modern era, which is, let's say, called the AI era, and in future it'll be the quantum era. So the AI era, which means is hacking the AI, which is the AI mind, because we are now, trying to use what chat assistants like AI assistants like Chat GPT, and so it's all about prompt engineering in one sense, and then there are things like, the assistants who help us, right, for many applications. So just transfer the modern human to the ultra modern AI, which is, just say it's a living entity in some sense in the cyber world. So people are, means the bad guys, that is, they are trying to hack the human mind and now the AI engine to ensure that they can do anything they want. They can bypass the system guardrails, and etc etc. So I would say this is something which a lot of effort is going on uh, from the hacking side. Okay, so that would be my answer. So you had asked me about the AI age. I had to start from the a bit before AI, because AI is pretty much like generative AI is pretty much new. But before that, there was social engineering, which is hack the human mind, and now it's basically hack the human mind. But in addition, also hack the AI mind to make sure that you can do what you want them to do.
Yeah, I think loved your take, like how hackers are also progressing their ways through they can get us, I should say. So my next question is like a follow-up questions. So have the target for the hackers changed in the age of AI when compared to that in the non-AI era?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like something has definitely changed. For example, if you look at the pre-AI era, so like people used to have these brute force approaches to like hacking firewalls and stuff like that, and then it was the data science age. Well, we are still in the data science age. It's just that people, they pick up names pretty fast. So nobody talks of data science now. They call it AI, but data science is still there. So let's call it that. People were caring about a lot of data, because we have a lot of data, like going around on our personal stuff and other, stuff which are really, really sensitive to us right now. The thing is, like, previously, hackers used to, like, one of the ways would be like, brute force the firewall and then get inside the system, right? So assume that the firewall is the wall outside your house. So you're just trying to break the wall and then get inside, right? Or you can just climb the wall as thieves used to do, and like that's one way. Now, but with the advent of the AI age, they are trying to actually target the AI engine, the engine which makes decisions, right? And I directly do not need to target the data or the wall, which I just mentioned. I can actually just target the AI, which will automatically give me the data which I want, right? So again, coming back to the your previous question, which had that, how have hackers changed their mindset? So the mindset also involves changing the target, right? Like maybe my target has changed. I mean, in the past, I was doing this. Now, what I need to do is I know that the humans are just sitting in front of their favorite, like AI platform, and they're just typing like, some prompts that give me this, give me that. If I can just, like trick the AI into getting for me what I want. It could be data, or it could be some system system information. I would say that's the new target now, in the age of AI.
Yeah, I think targets is changed, but the main motive is still same, I should
The
say.
main motive is still the
Yeah,
same. motives
yeah,
motives remain the same. It's the
yeah.
way you get your motive done, which involves targets, that keeps on changing.
So my last question. So have the hacker and the defender gap increased in the AI era, or it was less in previous era?
Well, this is a question which there's a very easy answer and there's a very difficult I would say answer in quotes because I'm not really sure whether there is still an answer. So to answer the question, why it's easy, because it's an age old question. Like people have been talking about this question for the last, say, 20, 30 years. Now, the answer is the simple answer is yes, the hackers are definitely ahead. And the reason why that is the case is because that's their core focus. Like say today, Ayush, you're probably part of a security defense system. You're CEO, you're a manager or something, right? Or you're an engineer. Now you are just doing your job, right? I mean, you have a, let's say, like 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, whatever the number of hours, you're just doing your job, but then you go back home, you have other stuff to do, and like, so you don't have a 24/7 focus. And secondly, like, you probably don't even have sufficient resources, because security is not something which the companies are putting billions of dollars, like every company is putting a billions of dollars. So the bottom line is that the bad guys, they have the better mind, a more focused mind, which a very good mind, which is very focused. I'll be correcting my words. At the same time, they have a lot of resources because they are backed by certain, like nation states. For example, if you talk about India, India has some, like competing nation states. So you basically, get backed by these entities just to do one thing 24/7. Let's call it that. So, of course, if you're giving more effort, the rule of the nature, the rule of the world is that you will be ahead of someone who is giving less effort, right? And on top of that, you're not following laws, because as a hacker, you don't need to follow laws. Whereas you can't do that. You have to follow protocols within stuff. So the answer at the broad level is yes. The right question, Ayush, in my opinion, is how much? So have the gap increased? If you take the gap maybe 15 years ago, and now if you take, say, going forward 10 years, has the gap increased? Now, in my opinion, I would say yes, because with the AI, look, the previous technology is already there. It's not going away. It's not vanished away. But you just have an additional AI component on top of this, right? Now, with AI, which is a huge thing, the attack space has just increased exponentially. The number of ways you can attack the system, and this is in addition to what you already had, okay, in the past. So the question is, the attack space has exponentially increased, or significantly increased. Has the defense increased correspondingly? Because if you have to keep pace with this, and my gut feeling, based on, we talk to a lot of, like, top people in cybersecurity, being at MIT, and we have lots of, discussions with the leaders in this field. My opinion is we are not really catching up at the right speed at which the hackers are, going forward. That's my take. But there's a good side to it, that we are trying hard. It's not that, like, we are just relaxed on this. Everybody understands the importance of the cyberspace and AI. But at the same time, I think people are too much relaxed, that let's just use AI for our own benefits, getting the job done. So, my personal opinion is that the gap is increasing with the hackers, like diverging the gap when compared to the defenders. Yeah.
I think very interesting topic ahead before our conference starts, I should say. So I think I would be love to hear your thoughts more on this, and I think our audience will also love to hear more on the topics like how hackers are thinking right now, I should say. So I have also prepared some rapid fire questions. My first question is,
Sure.
what's the first app you check every morning?
Ah, uh, I think email.
Okay.
Like, I wake up, and we work in different time zones, so
Okay.
sometimes we just check some emails, that do we have to do something, or what do we have to do something today, or something like that. So that's for me, though.
Okay. So biggest cyber threat people completely ignore nowadays?
Well, I would still say social engineering.
Social.
Social engineering, I did talk about it, Ayush, that, it's the human who is vulnerable much more than the technology. Like, you still have technology, it'll do its job, but the human controls the technology. And now in the ultra modern age, it's the AI engine. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that is something which, people will need to, think more, that, you hack the AI within, you
Yeah.
can do wonders,
Yeah.
right? So I would stick to that answer.
Yeah.
Yep.
So privacy's future, smarter code or tougher laws?
Probably both.
Mhm.
Probably a bit of both, because I'll tell you why. Smarter code, because code can do a lot of things. If you write smart code, it can take away the liability from the user. So like the user, it could be a naive user, it could be, say, your grandmother or my grandmother. You're not expecting them to be very tech savvy, correct? So the question is, if they are operating on the computer, the smart code should understand that this is probably a senior citizen, probably,
Yeah.
and then trying to understand what actually should be released and what should actually not be released. That's one. And even for professionals like us, we are pretty busy with many things. Like, our mind is not that every time we are on track to understand that this is the data and stuff. So the smart code definitely can put some checks on what's the nature of the data, and it can use AI now to understand, okay, this is not to be given out, or this is
Given.
not to be released.
Yeah.
So that's smarter code. And then you say tougher laws. Of course, smarter code has to be backed up by tough laws, because if the laws are very relaxed, then what's the point of even having
Yeah. Having.
like smart code?
Yeah.
So I would say it's a bit of both. You can't do one alone without doing the other, right? So they have to both go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think loved your answer on this. So my last question for today, what's the most MIT thing you have seen on the campus?
Ah, well, I mean, it's hard to say, but I'll give it a try though. So first of all, I think many schools, I don't want to just pick MIT as MIT. I mean, MIT is a great school. I personally feel it's the best in the world, but that's my opinion. But having said that, there are certain, known traits about, MIT in general, that, they're expert in hacking. And I'm not talking about security hacking here. I'm just saying hacking means give me something, I'll get the job done.
Yeah.
That mindset is, like I've been to many places around the world. Very few places would match MIT, if at all. Okay, so I think one of the things which is very MIT like is the students are fantastic. It's exceptionally hard to get into MIT. That is basically a well-known fact. But after they get in, they meet exceptionally talented peers, exceptionally talented faculty, and other people, like getting around MIT, faculty, students, and so on and so forth. Now, with that, I think you would understand that the expectations are very high. The demands are pretty stringent or tough. The questions, or which what you call the homeworks questions, etc., is really really very tough. Plus the students are passionate, right? They want to do their own stuff. So whatever they do, I think this hacking mindset that I want to do something, and no matter how challenging it is, I will get it done. That is something, oh man, it's very very MIT like. That's number one. The other thing, which is a bit on the funniest side, I want to tell you, is that there is this very funny rule that at MIT the classes start 5 minutes later than the
Okay.
scheduled time, and they finish 5 minutes earlier than the scheduled time. Okay,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for this. The reason is that students take courses and stuff, and MIT is such a vibrant community that people take courses. Say computer scientists might be taking courses in economics, or maybe in some philosophy, or they may be going to Harvard to take a course, because we have cross-listed courses. Harvard and MIT cross-list courses
Yeah.
amongst each other. So you need time for that student to get out of the class and get into the next class, which could be another building, right?
Yeah.
So so if you just start on time and finish on time, I mean, you're not giving that so-called transmitting time, or which is the communication time from one building to another building. So MIT is so technical minded that they have made this thing that we'll just keep 5 minutes late and 5 minutes early, so that students have sufficient time to walk within campus buildings and get to the next class, and start the thing. So I think that is very MIT like. I have not seen that in any other place, from my experience. So that would be my take on the two things which are pretty
Yeah.
MIT. I'm pretty sure there are many others, but these two for me, they stand out.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Ranjan. It was great connecting with you, and I am thrilled with your excitement to join our conference. So, any words for our participants who will be joining in the conference?
Oh well, just be there. I think it's a 1 day event. My experience of 1 day events, and we have a lot of events like this at MIT, by the way. So like I'm very much experienced in such events. So please do come, because it's not only about what's being like given out by the speakers. Of course, that's very very important, but It's the time we spend amongst each other in that one day, like networking from the morning till the evening. And I think the value is immense. So I would say let's come together, let's share ideas, let's have a cup of coffee together and discuss things under the sun. And I hope many people come in. It's a really good event, and hope to learn a lot from you guys, and of course people who will come in and probably share something of what I know too. So I really suggest people come in, and uh, I think this is one of the best events in the country, like going around in the IT sector. So uh, yeah, uh, just come.
Great, good to know. Thanks for your time today, Dr. Ranjan, and to all the participants. Don't miss this session happening on 4th IT Conpex on 22nd August in Crown Plaza, New Delhi. Get a great chance to connect with him in person. See you soon, Dr. Ranjan.
Thank you so much, Ayush, and I'll see you there with your team.